All right, Going the Distance Rocky Series podcast fans, I am your host, Ryan, and we're trying something a little bit different today, so bear with me. This may turn out to be a complete poop show, we don't know. But what we're going to do, this is a legitimate, I guess you could say, reaction video, which is kind of weird. But I'm reacting to a YouTube video that's called Everything Wrong with Rocky 4 in Some Minutes. I think it's about a 14-minute video. I have yet to watch this video, so what we're going to do is I'm going to listen to what this individual or people think is wrong with Rocky 4, and I figured why not? We're covering Rocky 4 this season, right? And I'm going to respond to the critiques. I assume it's going to be some sort of humorous video and what have you, but let's take a look. Let's find out what we have here, and I will respond in kind to the points that is brought up here. So let's go. Let's try it out. 13 minutes or less. Okay. Oh, spoilers. Yeah.
Slowly turning Cold War gloves parallel the slowly turning mindsets of the Russian and American governments of the mid-1980s. Oh. Boxing does not typically...
Okay. So there looks like there's a movie sin counter. So that was movie sin number 1. Maybe that's the name of this people that are doing this podcast or video. They're called movie sin counters, maybe. Okay, so I told that one went really fast. So what was it again?
Slowly turning Cold War gloves parallel the slowly turning mindsets of the Russian and American governments of the mid-1980s. Oh.
That's okay. That's not very
Boxing
good.
does not typically create explosions.
Okay, boxing does not typically create explosions, so... Okay, well, I'll try to stop saying so much. Yeah, I understand the beginning part of Rocky 4. I love the turning of the gloves. I think it's just the idea that it was just a dramatic effect because the gloves slowly turn. You have the Russian flag on the one glove and the USSR flag on the other glove. I think it's a good effect. I think it was really cool. I think it kind of holds up today. Now, the exploding gloves... Well, it's a metaphor, obviously. This is going to be an explosive movie, or emotions are going to explode. This is an explosive debate or explosive situation. USSS versus Russia. Okay. On to further sin counts.
Also, the Cold War boxing glove explosion is more than a little over the top. Previously on Rocky.
All right, so they're mentioning that it's over the top. We got the over the top reference, don't we?
In 1982, at the end of Rocky 3, you probably celebrated Rocky's victory over Clubber Lang. By the time Rocky 4 rolled around in 1985, you were hoping that this movie would change the ending so that B.A. Baracus could win the fight this time. Almost seeing Mr. T's balls.
Wow. I can't keep up with the counters here. They're already at 5 and we're 30 seconds in. This is ridiculous, this thing. I had no idea it'd be like this. I thought he would bring up like 5 or 6 things wrong with the movie. We're at number 5, 33 seconds in, and I can't even respond to them all at once. Or one by one, I should say. But, okay, almost seeing Mr. T's balls. Come on, dude. Seriously? Okay, that's not even close to being true. But I guess if you're this guy must be looking for things. Okay, the recap of all the Rocky films, that's normal in all the Rocky films. So I guess you can count that as a movie sin in all the Rocky films.
By the way, we're still rehashing Rocky 3 right now. Hey, asshole. The last movie ended like this, and we all wondered what the hell happened. Now you're going to puss out and not show us the fight? Couldn't you have at least started the movie here? Wait, written and directed by Stallone? Well, that explains a whole lot.
Okay. Well, we know who wins this fight, and this video did take place 3 years ago, so maybe when this video was made, they didn't know that in Creed Part 1, we'll find out who wins this fight. I think it's a great Easter egg in Creed, but... Fair enough. And again, even when this was originally released and we didn't know who won this little sparring match between Apollo and Rocky, I like that. I like that we didn't know for another 20-odd years. It's left up to however you want to think happened. I think it's cool. It was an ambiguous ending, and I didn't know if we really needed to see a whole another boxing match between the two of them in closed doors. I think that was what made it cool was that it was a closed-door fight, that we don't know what happened. Okay. And then he says, written and directed by Stallone. Well, that explains a whole lot, actually. I don't know what he's referring to because Stallone wrote Rocky Part 1. So if you're to use the debate that if Stallone can't write a film, then maybe he doesn't like Rocky Part 1 as well. Stallone did a great job directing the films that he directed. He directed Parts 2, 3, 4, which many argue are just a lot of fun. and he directed Rocky Balboa, and he wrote all the movies except for Creed Part 1. So I'm not sure. Maybe he's saying it's a sin, so that explains a lot, actually. I disagree. I think Stallone's writing. I don't know who else can write the character better than Stallone, but whatever. What do I know?
Odd, actually. Rocky's lifestyle inadvertently costs Mike Tyson all the dollars. Movie misses out on his chance to start the entire found footage genre. Jesus, what movie am I watching? And here we are, celebrating the birthday of Paulie, who we saw in the original Rocky was a drunk and abusive to his sister. Now getting robots to serve him birthday cake?
Yeah, the robot trope or the robot hacking of this film, it's almost cliche. It's silly, but it's a fun silly. It's a harmless silly. And if you know what the robot was created for, it was created to help Stallone's autistic child, and in real life. And this robot to this day is still doing that for people. It's I don't know. I recommend go listen to one of my previous interviews with the creator of the sequel robot. And it's amazing what 12 years and 3 sequels do to a character. Well, yeah, that people can grow and change. If you want the same personality and character for anybody in 6 films, then I don't know. Watch The Avengers, I guess.
It's amazing what 12 years and 3 sequels do to a character. No, kid, they're not. Several candles still burning. Nice job. Up.
You like it?
So Rocky is officially not relatable now. Remember, in the first movie, he was an underdog, a no-good bum. He was us. Now, this movie starts out with a Lamborghini, a mansion, a kid with his own camcorder, a robot servant, and an expensive necklace. And we want this guy to win because Russia is basically the reason.
No, we want this guy to win because Rocky's the hero. I don't know why anybody, especially in 1985, would be rooting for Drago to win. You want Rocky to win because, yeah, he's the main character, and we love him. We loved him for the first 3 movies, and we love him for this one. And also, him having a lot of money, you talk about your character growth, dude, that's the whole point, is he has grown as a character, and he's the heavyweight champion of the world in the 1980s. He had the greatest championship in the world. And he got a lot of money for commercials and deals and whatever you want to call it. What do you call that? Entrepreneurship when you do commercials with other companies. The name escapes me. Anyways, so yeah, he's got a camcorder and a robot. Sure, why not? He's got millions and millions of dollars to blow. Let him spend it how he wants. I don't know. Unrelatable. I think I'm not a millionaire, but I think I've seen a lot of movies where characters are millionaires. Doesn't make the movie not enjoyable. But I guess this guy who did this video can only relate to characters that live his life. So I guess he's watching movies that are just doing videos about why other movies are bad.
Even if it looks like a snake, don't worry, because it won't bite you.
This is exactly what I told the girl who did not become my college girlfriend. Movie naturally transitions from a married couple in bed to an ominous Sports Illustrated cover photo. Because, duh. Oh, wait, 2...
Wow, this doesn't make sense. That's the transition. It's just... The story is continuing that, we have a Russian athlete entering America who wants to fight Rocky. It shows that Rocky's living a good life. He's happy. He's chilling with his wife. Sure. And the ominous backdrop of this is that Drago's coming. That's what sets up this whole movie. 2 Lamborghinis and a robot servant. When it rains here, it rains Lamborghinis. Again, this dude, get over the fact this guy's rich. Has he never seen any movie that has rich people in it? I don't know why this... Wolf of Wall Street, anybody? Like, seriously. Alright, here we go.
2 Lamborghinis and a robot servant. When it rains here, it rains Lamborghinis.
I can't hear you. What?
Sorry, I'm making too much noise waxing my second favorite luxury sports car. Ivan Drago's Punch-Out.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Drago averages 1,850 pounds.
That's an average after 1 punch. Now let's see what the average is after 2 punches. Anyway, we don't know what his average is until he throws several punches, but whatever, dude is strong, we get it. Also, We're now going to be force-fed the belief that Rocky, who is now much older and was nearly destroyed by other boxers, can withstand a barrage of punches more than twice the average of a normal fighter.
That's what makes it a
Rocky
awesome
4 ups
movie.
the ante for the number of free-screen transitions you can stomach in a movie.
I mean, what at this point in your life is worth getting hurt for?
Dumbass reject from Skynet interrupts an important conversation because 1985...
The hell is that? That's my girl.
I don't like the way Paulie called this robot my girl, and everyone seems comfortable with the fact that Paulie bangs this thing regularly. Rich people.
Okay, I get again I've seen this movie 100 times, and I never actually thought that Paulie was actually having intercourse with this robot. And I know it's funny to say that, and I understand that But it's weird that people keep jumping to that conclusion. Like, I think he has the same relationship with a robot that you would have with a dog. Now, yes, I guess some people have done inappropriate things with animals, but I'm just saying he has a companionship relationship with this robot. I don't think it's in sexual nature. I think it's owner versus robot nature, but that's just me. I think people go for that joke because they think it's funny, and maybe it is funny, but it's been rehashed 100 times. I don't see anywhere in the film where we believe it's sexual. I think he just wants something, even if it's just a robot, to adore Paulie, because yeah, Paulie needs more love in his life.
Like I was saying,
I've already forgotten what you were saying. More robot. Much like the audience, Rocky and Creed are spending most of their time watching past highlights from the previous films.
and without some challenge, without some damn war to fight, then the warrior may as well be dead, Stallion.
Foreshadow irony. This article about Creed and Drago is about the United Auto.
Yeah, I actually caught this, and we talked about this in our previous episode, so I will say, hey, point one, finally, movies encounter. We actually did find this in our breakdown of this film, that this article about Creed and Drago is about the United Auto Workers Union. Yeah, and it's about other things, too. It's actually 3 different articles. You got the London thing, and anyways, you can see on the freeze here that it has got nothing to do with the Apollo Creed-Ivan Drago fight. So, okay, I will concede this was truly a movie sin in Rocky IV.
Auto Workers Union. No, wait. It's about Central American refugees. Also, this stuff happening in the U.S. is all taking place in London. Zoom!
You know, you ain't been in the ring for like 5 years, so I just...
Movie characters and movie keep reminding me how long Apollo's been out of the game, which is a huge tip-off that he's about to die. So, thanks, movie.
Well, yeah, I think you'd have to be an idiot to not understand that Apollo's life is in danger. And I think even when this film was first released, I remember going to the movie knowing that I think he was dead. I think the trailers kind of spoke to it. I think... you're right. We know he's either going to get destroyed or die. So, foreshadowing in any movie, take it how you want it. Could have been smarter writing, like the Sixth Sense type spoiler. I don't know. But, yeah, it's pretty obvious that Apollo's in a lot of trouble. But still don't know where the movie's going to go after that incident. And this happens in the first, 30 minutes of the film. So, there's still another hour of film afterwards that tells about the effects of Apollo's death.
Whoever's in charge of this exhibition fight is a total dick and doesn't even allow Drago his own entrance. They just lift him into the arena already in the ring.
Yeah, I will admit this whole James Brown sequence is a disaster. And so whatever he says coming up here, I probably will agree with him to some degree. I don't know what he's going to say, but Drago coming up out of the ring, we talked about this too in our breakdown of the scene, that it is kind of weird. It's kind of weird that there was this whole area below the ring, or yeah, the ring comes out of the floor, and that's going to be the box arena that they're going to be in.
Drago is getting a heaping helping of America right now. That'll teach him.
I don't think the idea of this was to teach him anything. It does show the 1980s America, absolutely, the extravagant money spent on this exhibition fight, and what have you. But yeah, this whole sequence is over the top, but I don't know if it was going to teach Drago anything. I think the idea was just to show Drago, look what America can produce. You know, look at the show that we can put on compared to what Russia could probably do.
Movie has come to a full stop to advertise its soundtrack. Why is Apollo Creed descending into the boxing arena in front of a giant evil Satan goat face?
Well, that's a great question. I think the idea here is I believe that Drago is the Siberian bull. And this is a bull, right? The horns and everything. And the bull is breaking apart. And so I think it's Apollo dancing in front of the bull, showing that I'm not afraid of you. This thing's going to fall apart. You're going to fall apart. But again, his dancing before the fight, it's silly. It's over the top. And it's going to get him in trouble because he's not ready for this fight. His head is not in this game.
It was the mid-'80s, so this blatant product placement still only cost Hugo Boss $27.33.
Yeah, we talked about that Hugo Boss placement. It's pretty silly that all 3 of them are wearing it. It's weird. You think they would have like Apollo Creed sweaters, but instead they have Hugo Boss sweaters. And I guess they picked out their outfits together. I don't know. It is kind of weird. I agree. So I think my count is, on this whole sequence, I think I'm going to agree with most of the things this guy says.
I mean, We're even going through the whole roster of American cities in this song. This movie has more filler over 90 minutes than a Saturday Night Live episode.
Event for the first time ever.
Yeah, true.
West against East in professional sports.
That's all kinds of untrue. What kind of boxing match takes place in a traditional stage theater with only half the ring surrounded by audience members?
Well, not many. It's a movie.
I just watched that movie last night. It was not what I was expecting.
He didn't say the Count of Monte Cristo. He said the Mount of County Fisto, I think. I could be wrong.
Drago clearly punches Apollo after the bell, but suffers no consequences. Couple cigarettes.
This guy's movie sins are kind of silly. I don't think I can respond to everything he's saying because it's just showing people smoking together. Is that a movie sin? I don't know what his criteria for a movie sin is right now. I guess that's what I'm confused about. Is he against people smoking in a movie? Maybe. But yes, Drago definitely punches after the bell's rung. Yes, that happens. Is that a movie sin? Well, no. It's just showing this character's brutal, that he doesn't care about what he's doing.
Folks, Ivan Drago is definitely for real.
I mean, he's destroying a guy who's been retired from boxing for 5 years. I'm ready to call this guy a champ after one round of a fight.
You don't stop this fight. No matter what.
Regrettable orders. No, and no medical professionals were on site for this fight, leaving Apollo to die in the arms of another boxer surrounded by photographers.
Yeah, I totally agree with this one. This one I totally agree with. And again, we talked about it, that you would think that at a boxing match there would be some sort of medical personnel somewhere on site much more quicker than what occurred here during this sequence. So, yeah, I'm with you 100% on this movie sin, dude.
Ah, yes, the 1980s, where action films were almost always predicated on getting revenge for a friend, brother, or uncle dying. Apollo Creed's super popular former heavyweight champ has a funeral attended by about a dozen people.
Okay, so two things here. Yeah, that was the 80s movies. I personally love the revenge story, and I make no apologies for that, being a fan of that. And I did think it was weird that this Apollo Creed funeral was attended by such few people. In fact, if you freeze frame this sequence right here, I don't even know if we see his wife in the audience. So it is kind of weird. Or Adrian, or Polly for that matter. Or Mickey. Oh, Mickey's dead. I'm thinking of everyone that's been in Paul's life. But yeah, it's a very small attended funeral. I agree. But you could also argue that maybe it's a private funeral. So...
people. Rocky honors Apollo at his funeral, but can't be bothered to take off his sunglasses. This entire...
Well, you could argue when people wear sunglasses, they could just be hiding how they feel. You know, they're hiding behind their own sunglasses. Maybe he's feeling sad. He doesn't want to see people, you know, whatever the reason. That's kind of a weird thing to talk about. And again, we have another article that has nothing to do with the title, Rocky versus Drago for Guilt or Glory. And it says here, this entire article is about the 1985 World Series between the Royals and the Cardinals. And I would suspect that the people who made this movie, i.e. Stallone, but the producers and the prop people, they probably didn't expect people to freeze frame these moments. But here we are in 2018 doing just that.
Our goddamn article is about the 1985 World Series between the Royals and the Cardinals. Rocky gets home late at night, but where the hell is his wife's car that we just saw her leave in the driveway?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe she moved it. Maybe she moved it so Rocky could park there later. They have some sort of arrangement that she moves the car by 7 o'clock at night. But whatever.
Gotta do what I gotta do.
How did this decision get made without her knowing anything about it? It sounds like Rocky woke up, told Adrian, I'm not fighting that dude, and by afternoon they called a press conference and he made a decision to go to Russia on Christmas.
No, that's fair. That's a totally fair point. Maybe I should only talk about his fair points, but yeah, I totally agree. It's a weird chain of events that she could go about her whole day and his whole day, and he holds a press conference without her knowledge until the reporters come to her driveway. So, yeah, that's fair.
But the baby, he's gonna have to kill me.
Dude, not the thing to say to your wife who was worried about you dying in this fight.
That's
Could Rocky
fair.
really not get a personalized plate that got the whole word southpaw in there? Or is that how his brain, which has taken many hits over the years, thinks it's spelled?
Well, no, and I thought that is a weird way of doing southpaw. If I was to do southpaw, I would do like STHPAW even. I think people would know what you're talking about, but yeah. Fair point. Fair point. Oh, I can only imagine what he's going to say here.
Angry at Russian boxer who killed my friend driving montage cliche. Also, here's montage 1. Don't worry, there will be plenty more. This montage is nothing but Rocky thinking of Rocky 1 through 4 footage.
Yeah,
it's a way to get the audience to think, yeah, there was a point in time I saw these movies and I remember all that stuff. Hooray for memory. Also, Rocky literally just got home super late at night after a tiring day. He had one small disagreement with his wife and then back out on the roads.
Yeah.
Also, nearly 4 full minutes of stupid memories that are a thinly veiled attempt to make a ton of cash by letting this entire song run during the film.
If I've told you once,
Yeah, it's that's all fair. The montage is what it is, and it did what it did, but people love it. We all love that song by Robert Tepper, and I don't know. I don't think there's anyone that fast forwards it. I don't know of anyone that does, that watches this movie 100 times.
told you 1,000 times.
Jesus, did they stumble on actual AI back in 1985 for this robot? Hell, Rocky's kid's video camera doesn't even have a color viewfinder.
I'm gonna have a wires tie.
Yeah, we talked about this as well. The as silly as the Rocky robot is, it's even more silly to think of how much artificial intelligence this robot has of its surrounding. It could talk to Paulie. It's aware of what's going on. It is over the top.
When I get back.
This may be the most disturbing thing I've ever heard in a movie. Brief say goodbye to my son scene floods the right side of the shot with an orgy of evidence that it's a boy's room. From the BMX bike, to the dino robot, to the football, the stuffed dinosaur, the Steelers pennant, etc. Also, what kind of asshole parks his bike in his bedroom?
Yeah, this guy must have heard our podcast. We also talked about that, how this room is basically it's a big display of just how rich he is and how fortunate he is to have a rich championship boxing father. Fair enough.
If a big giant man wanted to beat me up, I'd be real scared.
Ladies and gentlemen, child actors. The way this scene is shot and cut, I am genuinely questioning if Stallone and this kid even shot their lines in the same room. Wouldn't it be hilarious if somehow this kid just super intimidated Stallone and he refused to film with him, so we ended up with this tight-cut conversation?
What a horrendous flight.
No.
By the way, why the does Paulie need to even come on this trip for? Were we that enamored with his character? This is a guy who hit his sister and robots.
All right, enough with the robots. But yeah, anyways, I agree. We've talked about that before. Why does Paulie come? I don't know. I think for the writing of the movie, he adds comedy to the situation. But if this is real life, what does he provide Rocky? Nothing. Maybe companionship, someone to talk to. But the idea that Paulie even agreed to come to this it doesn't even fit his own character. So it is poor writing to bring Paulie along or to not explain better why he came along.
Sounds like Dracula's cousin.
That's racist.
Foreign, no TV, nothing.
Did they not discuss everything in the world about this fight when they were on the 16-hour flight to Russia?
Yeah, we talked about that as well. That's a fair argument, that there was no discussion about what to expect when we get there. And I guess maybe they didn't. I guess Paulie assumed everything would be there that they've had before, and Rocky surprised them with the fact that they have nothing there to train with, essentially.
No room service, I bet.
This is a sentence so stupid it's not worth uttering, let alone leaving in the final cut of the film.
Yeah, I agree. Mentioning that there's no room service is, again, silly. For Paulie to assume that there would be room service is silly. So, that's fair.
A depressing vacation.
I'm really beginning to think his character was in high demand. How the hell did that happen?
I don't know.
When he died, part of me died.
Especially since I was screaming, throw the damn towel, for 10 seconds prior to him dying while you did nothing. But let's forget that for now. Water under the bridge. I've literally forgotten about it.
Fair enough.
No one will be seated during the exciting guy looks through his binoculars scene. Oh, snap. Here comes montage number 2, folks. Only 11 minutes after the last one. Buckle in, it's a montagey ride. This is the only sports training montage in film history to include the rescue of a horse from a snowdrift.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know if that's a sin. I think that's amazing. And this montage sequence and the montage sequence afterwards is amazing. So, I don't know. I'm sure he's going to find fault with it, but who doesn't love these montages?
Rocky somehow knew the perfect training regimen for this fight would include good old-fashioned logger activities. Also, Rocky's training is so low-tech and homey, you'd swear this is a political commercial he forgot to narrate. Rocky goes out into nature and saws wood, while Drago goes to his expensive personal gym to lift weights and uses computers. Elect Rocky for boxing champ in 1985. Also, what would the counterattack ad be on Drago's side? Rocky says he's down to earth, but that motherfucker owns 2 Lamborghinis, a mansion, and a bot. Now who's a rich asshole? Film's editor really went overboard with the training differences and parallels.
Well, that's the whole point. I don't know. Either you like it or you don't. I guess this guy doesn't like it. The whole point of this was to show that Rocky needed to train differently. He needed to train to show that he could be tough, and Drago is basically an experiment for the Russians. He's like in a lab, and that's why he's in a more controlled environment than Rocky is. But yeah, the parallels are obvious. I don't think they were trying to not be obvious. I don't know if that's a sin. That was their intention. They hit you over the head with it all the same.
Knocking out a dude is the same thing as chopping down a tree. Now you know.
It's a metaphor, dude. Come on.
I'm with you no matter what.
No matter what.
Movie suggests Adrian was wrong all along about this boxing match, and Rocky was right, which is the opposite of what common sense tells me.
Well, that's the common theme throughout these films, is Adrian always seems to come around eventually to see Rocky's side of things, or else the movies wouldn't have these fights in them.
A mere 2 minutes after the last montage, montage number 3 hits you in the f***ing head like you're Clubber Lang looking for a rematch.
Sure.
By the way, whatever happened to that guy? Did he quit after Rocky beat him once?
Alright, well, that's a good question, dude. According to Sylvester Stallone, the Clubber Lang character went on to find God and become a preacher. So he quit boxing altogether. So yeah, he did quit boxing. And he became a preacher. There you go.
When you think about it, this is really the sequel to the earlier montage. It's the exact same montage, only with a few different exercises. It's the Hangover 2 of montages.
Fair enough, but it's better.
Damn, this guy is getting a workout just saying no pain. As if the guy isn't villain enough, yeah, he's taking steroids. Crumpling the picture means he's ready. Oh, maybe not. Did Rocky just call out Drago's name during orgasm?
No, he did it during a training exercise. Anyways, this sin counter is ridiculous, by the way, but that's just my opinion.
Months into his training, Rocky finally realizes he can jog off-road to escape his Russian tail.
Sure.
I would have subtracted 50 sins if somehow they found a way to stick the Philadelphia Art Museum up here. Discount Rio. Discount Gorbachev is discount.
Come on, that ending sequence of Rocky on top of the mountain yelling Drago is pretty amazing. But whatever.
A bunch of American extras pretending to be Russian boo an American going through a fence.
And his concentration seems to be like stone.
That's my dad. We know. What do you think we are, nerds?
Rocky's son is just loser enough to only be able to invite bullies to his viewing party.
That's funny. That's fair.
Gotta hand it to the Russians. At least they staged their bullshit boxing match in an in-the-round style auditorium.
I must break you.
Also, there is clearly a sniper in this audience currently zeroed in on Drago's neck.
Fair enough.
Shenanigans. In this movie, the fight is fairly even. In real life, he'd had so much reach advantage, he'd likely never even get hit once. I guess we missed the part in the montages where Rocky chopped down trees with his face so he could withstand these punches.
Well, and that happens in the Rocky films, that Rocky blocks with his face.
Rocky Balboa is in serious trouble.
Well, he is fighting a few steps up from his weight class. And the Russian uses steroids, but whatever. I went to a boxing match and a WWE match broke out.
Well, that's what makes this final fight kind of fun. Like, yeah, they're getting scrappy in the ring. Sure.
Hey man, this guy lifted a net full of rocks during his training, so it prepared him for 2,100 pounds of force to the face.
Well, I think the idea is that Rocky has always been able to take a punch and give a punch, but you're right. His punches are extremely brutal, but maybe he can't, what do you call it, unload that kind of power in the boxing ring. You know, when you ever see Bloodsport? Remember that part in Bloodsport where Jean-Claude Van Damme's character hits that brick really powerful and explodes? And the comment from Chong Li was, "Very good. Brick don't hit back." So, you know, he's not lining up for these big punches because, you know, Rocky's moving around and he's punching back. But fair enough.
And here's the classic Rocky fight montage.
Yeah,
montage
of
number
course.
4, giving the montages 15 minutes of screen time. If you subtract them along with Rocky 3 rehash and credits, this movie would be like an hour. Also,
Oh, it actually would be less than an hour. See, I'm actually surprised I'm saying that, dude.
a movie that is made up of 40% boxing footage devolves into multi-round montage in the finale, because apparently you viewers don't actually want to see boxing, despite that being all you wanted to see up till now.
No, I think this fight's pretty long. I think there's a lot of boxing and a lot of training in this film. I think the majority of this movie is boxing. You had the celebrity match, or whatever you call it, exhibition match at the beginning. You have the 2 training sequences, then you have the final fight. This is one of the more boxing heavy Rocky movies, quite frankly.
Few cheers now for Rocky Balboa.
What?
And Rocky Balboa's determination is actually beginning to win over what was once a hostile crowd.
Might have had more impact for me, the viewer, if I'd taken that journey with the spectators, instead of, watching a series of montages that made no sense after watching a series of training montages that were totally unnecessary.
What round is it?
15. One more round.
I can maybe, with a stretch, believe Rocky lasted a couple of rounds taking the hardest punches he has ever taken in his life. But the distance?
Well, that's Rocky's character. He goes the distance. What do you want us to do? He's not going to get knocked out at the end of Rocky 4, right? That's just not the movie that's going to happen.
Seriously, the Russians cheering for Rocky is the most unbelievable thing ever.
It's true. It does seem unlikely that would happen. It does seem unlikely that the audience would just turn on their... Because Drago hasn't lost the fight yet. It's gone the distance. But for them to cheer... Now, this is in hockey. I don't know if they have this in other sports. They have what's called the Bronx cheer. This usually happens when the goalie of the home team is doing really poorly. And he lets in a lot of goals or whatever. And then he makes a save, and then everyone starts cheering him because he makes one save. So maybe this is Russia's way of saying, like, screw you, Drago. We're voting for the other guy now because you're not the hero we thought you'd be.
Hey, you took a couple hundred punches we didn't think you could. Our hero!
Balboa is chopping the Russian down.
I had no idea Rocky chopped down trees during his training, but this conveniently jives with the movie's metaphor.
Yeah, we actually just talked about that in one of our previous episodes. That it's the foreshadow is always, it hits you over the head. Whatever they do in the training montage will end up being in the fight of Rocky, in the final fights.
Maybe we should take down that wall in Berlin after all. Well, Russia sure warmed to democracy in a hurry. Both countries obviously should have spent more time on boxing-based diplomacy instead of nuclear weapons technology.
During this fight, I've seen a lot of changing.
Hey, you remember in the first Rocky when it just ended after the fight was over? Nope. Time to make a speech about how we can all change. I think we can thank Rocky for ending the Cold War.
Yeah, that's talked about all the time. Rocky ending the Cold War. And this speech is kind of silly. It doesn't age very well, and it's probably one of the weaker parts of the whole film is Rocky's speech, I will say.
In here, there were two guys killing each other. But I guess that's better than 20 million.
I don't know of a more serious statement to deserve a wah-wah more than that one.
If I can change, and you can change, everybody can change.
Overly idealistic worldview. Also, this speech paves the way for Steven Seagal's On Deadly Ground speech. What an asshole.
I just want to say one thing to my kid who should be home sleeping.
Moscow is 8 hours ahead of Philadelphia, so when did they decide to hold this fight? At 9 a.m.? So in
Maybe.
the end, what did we learn? Rocky fought this fight?
Yeah, but the timeline of Rocky has never made sense. So that's a fair argument. I've always wondered that too. What time? So maybe the fight did take place at 9 a.m. That way the U.S. viewers could see it. So that's possible.
For revenge, but Drago is still alive and Apollo is still dead. And somehow the fight brought the U.S. and Soviet Union together, which I still can't believe I just saw. So bring on the McDonald's, Russia. You deserve it.
All right, here we go.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
All right. Well, that was interesting. I guess if you want to see more of this guy's stuff, you can go to his channel. Just for fairness, he is called CinemaSins. All right, there you go. CinemaSins. Everything wrong with Rocky 4. So, look, I know it's all in good fun. I get it. I didn't even know the video would be like this. So, I thought, like I said, he would talk about one or two things. I didn't realize it would be 115 things. So I can't respond to all of them one by one. And yeah, there's some of your comments. And yeah, somebody said here, whatever, Rocky 4 was awesome. I agree. So anyways, here we go. This is going to be episode 99, I believe, of our Rocky 4 coverage. I'm going to post it on our YouTube channel ahead of schedule. So our tens and tens of viewers on YouTube can get a sneak peek into episode 99. And if you like this, we'll do more of this kind of stuff, responding or reacting to things on Rocky from YouTube. All right, guys, keep punching. Remember to give us a review on iTunes and on Facebook and all that good stuff. And stand by for episode 100 coming up. Thanks, guys. Take care.